is something that I feel is so significant to the topic today, which is focusing on a new earth and what each of us are here to do to create this new earth experience, how we are here to feel it into being, and we are here to visualize what that looks like and what it feels like, and vibrationally create and manifest a new earth from our focal point of where we're going, not our focal point of what's not working and our fear. We already know that part. Got it. So we're going to keep our focus and our wand waving over here towards the land of new earth and beauty and love and harmony and integrity and whatever that means for you, because for some, a new earth might be hell and damnation and the world must end because they have belief systems that have been in place for so long that there needs to be some destruction in order for there to be something beautiful come. And there sometimes, might be this manifested, like the planet may very well have destruction. There might be times where there's earthquakes and volcanoes. They're happening right now. I've been feeling it in my body. I've been feeling the hits of this. My guides have been telling me there's more solar flares, there's more gamma rays and things that my beloved and I were like researching on all of this. When my stomach's like washing machine, we start looking at what's going on with the sun, and sure enough, there's a lot of solar flares and magnetic energy, solar winds. And so when this stuff happens, there is often a result and a reactive experience from the sun that is activating the earth, and there are more volcanoes. And right now we're in a very high alert for volcanoes and earthquakes because of what's going on with the sun. So it's all very connected. And so there will be times where there may be, natural disasters and events, but we also can call in that protection, and we can call in for guidance on what to do about these things. Instead of thinking the world's going to end, we can tune into, what can I do to help? How may I assist? How may I serve in raising the vibrational frequency of the planet, in anchoring in more light and love for the planet, for humanity, in calling in shields of protection for different places that I intuitively feel are in danger. We can be active guides of this and assistants of this, or we can just be afraid and talk about the fear and the doom and gloom. So that's the old paradigm, the world's going to end belief system stuff. And then the new earth, this is the dialogue with Neil and his higher self. He's kind of talking about that. So let's see, I'm going to just start at the top of the page. He said, the most significant way in which you may consciously apply your new understanding is to be the cause of your experience, not at the effect of it. So this is you owning your vibrational frequency. You emit a signal. You're not going to be responding and reacting to others. You're going to be the cause of your own experience. And know that you do not have to create the opposite of who you are in your personal space or personal experience in order to know and experience who you really are, who you choose to be. So when we're these highly evolved beings, we know what darkness is. We know what that is. We don't need to keep talking about shadow and keep staying in shadow. If we have suppressed shadow that we're not dealing with, yes, let's look into that. Let's own it. Figure out where it comes from, what we need to forgive about it, and what we need to release. Let it go. Come back to our light. Come back to our divinity. But we don't need to keep having destruction to know what peace feels like. We don't need to have hate to know what love feels like. We did for a time. Many of us come into this earth plane to experience the contrast and the polarity because we wanted to understand it. But we're at a place now, we understand it. So now the intention and the intelligence would be to focus on the wholeness and the alignment. And then we can have a distant memory of these experiences. We hold the memories and the love of life experiences, but we don't need to hold the traumas and the cellular memory in a negative, destructive way, like post-traumatic stress way, where we're suppressing emotion. We want to be able to feel and remember that experience with truth and wisdom but we don't need it to like haunt us and cause us suffering. I hope that makes sense to everybody and that's clear. So we're really being shifted to come out of this place where we think we have to continue having this polarity, and we can actually find a middle way and a balance, and we can integrate all that we've learned, all that we know, all that we understand, and we can move in the middle way where we are basically, it's like being in the eye of a storm. We don't need to get caught up in a storm anymore. We don't need to be in chaos and drama to know that it's there. We can come back to our center and we can experience bliss and love and wholeness no matter what others are choosing. And this is something each of us has the opportunity to shift into. So at the bottom, he put, now know that there are 3 basic wisdoms that run through the entire dialogue. And this is his higher self, aka God, is saying to Neil, this entire dialogue, which is like 3 books that he's written, he's saying that there are 3 basic principles of wisdom, which I completely think are awesome, and I want to share those. So they are: 1, we are all one; 2, there's enough; 3, there's nothing that we have to do. So again, we are all one, there's enough, and there is nothing we have to do. So kind of process that. He wrote, if you decided that we were all one, you would cease treating each other the way that you do. And really think about that. If you knew you were all one, would you wish for hate and suffering for anybody? If you really understood you were one, think about that. If you decided that there's enough, you would share everything with everyone. So if you feel like you're stingy and scared there's not enough and you're trying to take your share and you're hiding and stowing, you're trampling on people to get your share, I feel like maybe there's some room for opportunity here to shift into remembering there's enough. So contemplate your awareness. Each of us listening, it's all about our own awareness on this. Do we feel that we're one? Do we live as if we're one? Because it's one thing to intellectually understand oneness, and it's another to embody that. Do we believe there's enough? Do we live as if there's enough? If you decided that there's nothing we have to do, you would stop trying to use doingness to solve your problems, but rather move to and come from a state of being which would cause your experience of those problems to disappear. I'm going to read that one again. So if you decided that there's nothing we have to do, you would stop trying to use doingness to solve your problems. So like those of you that are working extra hours this week and you're kissing your boss's butt because you're trying to like smooch up and get into a higher salary or whatever you're doing to be enough, or the ones that are, maybe you're just like giving everything away for free because you want to prove you're enough, or you are, the mom that's like taking care of everybody in the neighborhood's kids because you got to prove that you're a good enough mom. Whatever way you're doing it, if you are trying to, prove through your doingness that you need to solve your problems through that, then you're really not believing that you're enough, that there's nothing that you have to do. You're living as if you're not enough. And I would say that's like the ultimate deep wound of humanity is I'm not enough. And that's going on in many of us, and we have to shift that. We have to realize there's nothing we have to do. We are loved and we are supported for who we are, for just being here, just for being a breathing spiritual being in a human form, or being an animal or a tree or whatever it is. We are loved and supported just for that. We don't have to do anything. Now, it says, but rather move to and come from a state of being which would cause your experience of those problems to disappear. So that, in essence, is what I've talked about on the show many times, where we are in a state of beingness. When I go into meditation and I am in conscious creation mode and I am being with Source, then that beingness will often ignite and inspire action that will come from my beingness. So my beingness will inspire divine aligned action. That's very different than I just don't know what to do, so I'm going to go do more. I'm going to go run and jump on the hamster wheel and spin, spin, spin. and work more and, frantically, fearfully, egoically create because I'm terrified that I need to do more, there's a very big difference in that. So doing this without presence and without beingness is going to be very empty, and it's going to be very exhausting, honestly. And beingness is where we're going to activate and align with our divine spirit, with our source, and it's going to inspire us into action. So it doesn't mean we won't take action. Like, beingness will create action. At a certain point, we will want to take action, but it's different than just fearful, frantic doing. So I hope that's clear. Okay, so it says, the conditions themselves will thus evaporate. This is perhaps the most important truth of all for you to understand at this stage in your evolution, and it is a good place to end this dialogue. Remember this always and make it your mantra. So if you want to jot this down or just watch this video later and remember this as your mantra, there is nothing I have to have.
Great coffee.
There is nothing I have to do, and there is nothing I have to be, except exactly what I am being right now. And so if you can really own that you just being fully present in your beingness right now is all that is ever called for. And you will intuitively and divinely know exactly how to take aligned action through that beingness, through that presence of being fully in the now. But when we're not fully in the now, we're not in our beingness, we will fearfully, frantically do a lot, and it will not really serve us. So kind of contemplate that. This does not mean that having and doing will be eliminated from your life. It means that what you experience yourself having or doing will spring from your being, not lead you to it. When you come from happiness, you do certain things because you are happy, as opposed to the old paradigm in which you did things that you hoped would make you happy. Can you see the difference in that? Like, how many of you listening are doing things right now because you think one day it'll make you happy? Be honest about that, because this is the path to freedom, is honesty. Like, really open yourself to see. And how many of you are coming from a place of happiness so that you're doing things because you're happy? So when I'm coming from a place of happiness and joy, I will choose to take action in a direction because I'm happy and I'm like, yay, I'm inspired. Let's go do that. But if I'm doing stuff because I hope to be happy, that's a very different vibration. And that is like, in essence, where I talk about trying to be or being, it's very different. I'm trying to be patient. God damn it, I'm trying. And I am patient. I am present. That is stepping in and being patient. So you're in it. You've owned it. You've embodied it. I am it. Or you're trying. And so kind of process that. When you come from wisdom, you will do certain things because you are wise, not because you are trying to get wisdom. So when you come from love, you will do things because you are love, not because you want to have love. So think of this like when I talk about the celebrities that are out seeking love from everyone. They want lots of attention, lots of fans, lots of love, lots of love. So in essence, are they coming from love? Are they being love? Or are they doing everything because they want to have love? Do you see the difference? And that could also apply just to like, just any old, person, like somebody 15-year-old wanting love from somebody because she doesn't feel love at home, so she's trying to get love from the boyfriend and wants to make a baby because then maybe the baby will love her. This can really lead to a lot of suffering if the being is not coming from love to create. I feel like, think of just that process of making a human life. If a soul loves themselves and they're coming from a state of love and they want to co-create a new life because of their love and they want to pass that love on, that's going to be a very different vibrational experience for that baby and for that mother and probably her partner as well, then the contrasting situation of